Hello and welcome back to my course on Markdown, in which I'm going to teach you how to write HTML-ready content specifically for the Ghost CMS. But of course, everything that I show you here can be applied in any other Markdown format that you're writing. The reason why I'm choosing Ghost, as I mentioned in my introductory lecture, is that Ghost gives you a really good illustration of how Markdown works in a real-world environment. So just a quick one about me. My name is Gareth van Sale, and I'm a journalist and web developer with over 10 years experience in the space. I've dealt with a lot of online content and web content, and I know a lot about some of the key trends in the space. And Markdown has really emerged in recent years as quite a big trend, mainly because it helps you write web content a lot more efficiently. So if you want to contact me and ask me any questions during this course, please feel free to do so. My email address is listed on the slide, as well as my Twitter address, and there's my website address as well. So you can get in touch with me and ask me any question if you maybe want to get clarification on any particular topic. Right, so let's get started. This is an introduction to the course and what you're going to learn. So what are we going to learn? I'm going to basically teach you how to write up web content, images, text, links, and more with little direct HTML. So we're going to do all of this by using the Markdown writing format. And basically what Markdown does is that it's a writing format that lets you easily export HTML. So you don't need to know any HTML. You just use a couple symbols and it outputs a whole lot of HTML for you. And this is really useful in many circumstances. Mainly, I'm going to be using the Ghost CMS, but you can also export Markdown content to the likes of GitHub, where it's really popularly used, as well as Jekyll and Medium. Those are two other platforms that use the Markdown writing format. Now, Markdown is not a replacement for HTML. It's not a complete replacement. It doesn't complete every single HTML element. It doesn't compete with it on a foot type basis. But it is sufficient. You can use Markdown and it will give you what you need, really. It gives you some of the most popular HTML tags. So what is Markdown and why should you use it? Well, Markdown basically was founded by John Gruber and Aaron Swartz in 2004. Of course, Aaron Swartz was the former co-founder of Reddit, who unfortunately passed away many years ago. And really what John Gruber and Schwartz wanted to do was they wanted people to write up web content faster, images, links with no direct HTML. They were inspired by marking up email. So, just in the way in which you kind of mark up email, that simplicity that's behind it, they really wanted to translate that same simplicity over to writing out HTML ultimately. And Markdown is used in a whole lot of variety of applications, from formatting README files to messages and forums to even creating rich text just using a text editor. And I'm going to show you pretty much how to use it throughout this course. The tools of the trade, the software that we're using. So obviously for this course, I'm going to be showing off Markdown in Ghost. Now, I'm going to basically post a link to Ghost as well so that you can download it and use it. And I'm sure that you've probably stumbled upon this course because you are probably already a Ghost user. But if you're not, I would strongly suggest that you basically point your browser to ghost.org and check out pretty much what's happening there. You can download Ghost from there. There's a whole lot of tools available. I will post links in the resources tab as well for you to check out and get up and running, depending on the system that you're running, whether it's Linux, Mac, Windows. So really what Ghost is that it's a system that I think really simplifies publishing, and you'll see that I've got an instance of it opened just over here. It's got a really clean interface. It only uses Markdown to write content. Of course, you do have a sort of a rich text editor within it, but if you insert an image, it pretty much outputs the Markdown output And it also has this really neat feature where you can split screen, and I can write my Markdown, pretty much here, and you can sort of see how it translates almost immediately into basically HTML. So there I've got an H3 tag that I've written on the left, which is the Markdown, with 3 hashtags representing the H3, and on the right you'll see that it's output almost immediately. And the reason why I'm using it in this course is that it's really a great way to illustrate how Markdown works and how it operates in a real world environment. Of course, I'm not going to limit you to Ghost, even though that's part of the title of this course. You can do everything that we're going to do in this course and everything that we're going to cover in this really cool web app called Dillinger.io. You can point your browser to it. And of course, if you enjoy using your text editors as well, you can download and use Markdown pretty efficiently in the Atom text editor. Atom is a project headed up by GitHub. And here you'll see that I've got an example. I've actually got a Markdown post on my own personal website, a post that I made quite some time back. But here you can see that I've got some Markdown in it. And what's cool about Atom is that it comes with a package that's built into it. And I'm just going to show you how to access it here. So if you are using Atom, you can basically install it, go to packages, and then you'll see that there's basically a Markdown preview, a toggle preview. And what's cool about this is that it outputs a lot of what I've done on the left there, which is in the Markdown. As you can see, the HTML is on the right over here. So this is I think it's a really good, efficient project to use, and it's a really good option to learn how to use Markdown. I can show you another example of a different post as well. Let me just sort of get rid of a couple here. Oops. So here you can see, let me just clean up my interface a bit. But yeah, you can see that I've written a recent update, and I'm just going to go straight into my Markdown preview. And there you can see how everything is pretty much been output. So you can use this for the course as well. It does give you a very basic HTML view. It's not the same as using a browser, but I think it's pretty good, and I really like the Atom project, and considering that I'm a GitHub user myself, I think it's pretty cool, and it's got some really nice packages as well that you can use for all kinds of other stuff, such as a terminal and that type of thing. So those are going to be the tools of our trade. And just a couple of other things to know before you go. So there are other Markdown formats, including the likes of Markdown Extra, Multi-Markdown, GitHub Flavor. The basics that we're going to cover in this course by primarily using the Go CMS. I'll also show you the Dillinger tool in one of the first lectures, but primarily through the Go CMS is going to be fine for you. Of course, I encourage any further reading on your side to learn more about it, but I'm really just covering the basics, and it's going to be quite a comprehensive coverage of those basics. Of course, another thing that you need to know is the file format for Markdown. If you're using a system like Jekyll and you're going to save one of your Markdown files, as you would have seen in my Atom browser there, you can use the .md or the .markdown formats. So those are really the key things that you need to know. In the next lecture, which is really going to be our first proper lecture, I'm going to dive into paragraphs and line breaks. So I'll catch up with you there.